Welcome back to the Dev Mentor Dave channel here on Twitch and YouTube, streaming live most Monday through Fridays at 4 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. on the Workday Recap. So we finally made it back in engaging lurking. That's awesome, Dan. Way to start the broadcast or live stream or whatever it is. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. My brain is so fried. This has been a long week and a half, trying to get some stuff done for a client who's going out to be doing a lot of demos and things. So there's a lot of fun, a lot of craziness stuff going on. But thankfully, able to jump on here at least for a few minutes. I've still got some more work that I need to do and get some stuff pushed to a demo server for them later on. But no, everything's going well so far, even with that and the craziness of life. And I restarted my computer right before I jumped on here too. So I was just waiting for Ming to yell at me for being late. So thankfully he has not yet. We're still in the youthful Grandpa Dave. So there you go. Did you snooze at the table and wake up for the stream? No, I did not. I did not snooze. I have not taken a nap today. I have been really busy all day. It felt like it's gone by pretty quickly because there are some days where I'm busy, but there's a lot of like breaks in between like meetings. It feels like most of my life is meetings at nowadays, but most days there's like breaks between the meetings and things like that. And in those days, I don't feel like I accomplished anything because there's those weird periods of time that are just kind of blank where you're doing stuff, but it's not like a cohesive time that you spend on something. Anyway, I don't know if you can have any idea what I'm talking about, but hopefully you do. But there are times when it just feels like the day's gone by pretty slowly, but I don't know what I did. But I know I was busy the whole time. And then there's days like this where I have like a whole checklist of things that I've checked off for the day that I needed to do and that I have done, along with all the other meetings and things that happened throughout the day. So I'm feeling very accomplished, even though there's still more stuff that needs to be done. So, but that's okay. That's part of the job, and sometimes that's part of the dev job too. Sometimes you get in a place where you just gotta work some extra hours. Hopefully that's not an all the time thing, but that happens once in a while, and so we need to be willing to do that when it does happen. In fact, I worked all weekend this last weekend and had another one of my devs on one of the projects working through the weekend as well, and there was a good purpose for it. It's going to be very helpful actually for the client. So sometimes that happens where you gotta spend some extra time doing some extra work, but hopefully it's valuable in the end, for both for you and for the client. So hopefully it makes you money and makes the client money at the end of the day. That's really what we really want, is a nice symbiotic relationship of profit, right? We want the client to be profitable so that they can pay us and we can be profitable. So that's something to keep in mind. I know sometimes people get skewed ideas about relationships between clients and developers and things like that, and I think it's important for us to remember as developers, if we're working for clients or if we're working for a company, that we want that company to be successful. We want that client to be successful, because chances are, if they're successful, they're going to come back for more work if we've built a good relationship. That's one of the nice things about the company that I work for, is we've got good relationships with a lot of clients, and we've had a lot of repeat business. So not only do we have new business coming in, but we have repeat business with clients that are happy with the work that we've done. So the key is keeping them happy. and sometimes that means you have to work some long hours here and there, but thankfully it's not something that's normal necessarily for most of us here at the company that I work at. So if it is normal, excuse me, if it is normal in your company for you to be working into the evening and weekends and things like that, that's not a good thing. All right. If it happens once in a while, that's perfectly acceptable in my opinion. We shouldn't just be hung up on given only our 40 hours. I think again, we want our companies to succeed. And so I think it's important that we understand our impact on the company and the ability for it to succeed, not succeed, but succeed. And so I think it's important for us to think in that mindset. Um, it might be hard to think in that mindset if you're just like an hourly employee or even a salaried employee, but you don't really feel the impact. Like if you don't have a bonus structure or something like that, uh, excuse me, I think that can kind of be hard to feel the impact of the work that you're putting in, and kind of feel like you're just making somebody else rich, and to some extent you are, but at the end of the day, a successful company, more likely than not, especially if it's privately owned, is going to keep you around if you're being successful. So it does help you in the long run, and hopefully will give you a raise here and there as well too. So, there you go. Let's see. Dan says, long day here as well, ripping out WebSockets and Apollo client from the front end and replacing them with basic fetch. How the turns have tabled on the old WebSockets. I don't think WebSockets are necessarily bad or wrong, but that is interesting that you're ripping out WebSockets for basic fetch APIs. What in the world just happened? Something happened to my phone and the video just glitched. That was weird. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I heard it because the phone made some weird noise. It's usually the noise that happens when like OBS is connecting to it. So if I lose video, you'll know why. That was weird. It has been raining really hard here today, and but I haven't lost any power or anything, so I think we should be good. I think most of the rain stopped anyway. But yeah, so there you go. Ming says, I had a long chat with my principal dev friend. He challenged me to get used to using my coffee app. I'm really scared I'll get a lot of opposition. He told me there's layoffs going off left and right and center in terms of junior roles. There's less and fewer roles because the industry has shifted towards AI, machine learning. That is true, but I'll be honest with you. I think it's going to swing back. It will have to swing back eventually because old people like me and Dan, we're going to retire eventually. And like for myself, Dan's still very much in the code every day. Like he's just talking about ripping out WebSockets, right? So Dan's in the code every day. I am less so. I have been more recently, just with the big project that I'm on that needs a little bit more of my involvement just to help out the team. But I think we're going to come to a place where we need more developers, and those junior developers are going to be the only ones available. And we're not going to always be able to poach somebody from another company. We're going to have to mentor devs and bring them in and show them how to actually do the job, even if we are using tools like AI and machine learning and things like that. Somebody's got to write that stuff. Somebody's got to build that stuff. Somebody's got to manage that stuff. And if we as an industry are willing to cast aside our future, which I think is what we're doing, if we're not mentoring devs, we're casting aside the future of our own stability. And that's a problem. We need to be able to work with the tools that we're creating because they are just tools. They're not employees. And I think that's the thing that people are not understanding. You cannot just replace a person with AI. Now, I was talking to a dev friend of mine recently who he is starting to see the tools that he's using really begin to do a lot more for him as a developer and be able to get a lot more things done. And he even jokingly said to me something like, am I replacing myself? And I said, well, I don't think you're replacing yourself. I think you're just becoming more and more efficient because you still have to tell it what to do, right? You still have to be in control. It doesn't think. AI doesn't think. It doesn't really plan. It looks like it is, and it's really, really good at looking like it is. It's really, really good at guessing really good stuff. I use it for planning all the time, but at the end of the day, it's not really thinking. And that's something that... Oop. Yeah, something's going on with my camera. That's weird. My video just stopped. Hopefully it's back now. I don't know. That just threw me off. Right in the middle of my rant. Doggone it. But yeah, it should just make us more efficient. It should make us better. It should allow us to do cooler things and spend more of our time thinking about what can be rather than thinking about how to do what we what we need to do, right? So I think it puts us in a better place to be able to dream, whereas right now there are only like certain parts of the company that get to dream, if that makes sense. So like there's only like usually it's higher management that gets to make up ideas and dream, and devs are oftentimes just left with, building the things that other people imagine. And I think the advent of AI gives more freedom to developers to be more imaginative, to think outside the box, to offer other solutions, because we can get to a place where we've developed guardrails and rules and processes that AI can work really well in. And this friend of mine, he's using Laravel, um, and he's mostly back end dev, which I think AI does better with back-end development anyway than it does with front-end development, just because there's so many nuances to front-end development that are not the same type of nuances as back-end development. And so he's mostly back-end development, but he's just churning through thing after thing after thing in the project that he's working on, and a lot of it has to do with the MCP that he's using through Laravel Boost, his own rules and guidelines that he's set up in the projects that he's working on. And he's able to really start to see his usage of AI and the context and everything around that project really begin to take off and start to do a lot of things that would take him a few hours in just minutes. And again, that's people, you go to LinkedIn or something like that, and people talk about how it's not just about speed of code, and they're right. It's not just about speed of code. What it's about is what that speed of code gives you. It gives you freedom. It gives you time to do other things, to think about other things, to dream about other things within the confines of the project that you're working on. So I feel like AI, while it's not going to replace developers, it frees up developers to pursue more avenues of cool stuff, really, in my opinion. And I think that's how we should look at it. We should look at it as a tool that gives us more time. It's a tool that enables us to tap into other parts of our brain, other parts of the process. So I don't think it's going to remove junior devs overall eventually, but a lot of companies are still doing that. And I know you asked there, Ming, if you should change your strategy. I don't know that I would change my strategy. I would just include a lot more integration of learning and application and interaction with AI in your process. Learn how to make AI work for you. And maybe that is on like your coffee ordering app. Um, I'll be honest with you, when it comes to apps, so success is almost always based on marketing. It's very rare, and I'm not necessarily saying paid marketing, but word of mouth marketing, paid marketing, whatever type of marketing you want to throw in there. The success of applications is largely due to that. You can build the best coffee ordering app in the entire world, but if you're not able to market it, if you don't have somebody who sees the vision of its usage and sees the profitability of it, then you're probably not going to get a ton of users. Now, if you can get some users, you might generate some good word of mouth marketing through that. So I'm not saying that it's impossible. It's definitely a lot slower. So word of mouth marketing is a ton slower. My wife is texting me. Are you doing your live stream? Yes. um, so so I think I don't know that I would throw all your eggs in that basket. I would say so for your app, do you have a profit plan? Like, is there a way in which you plan on using it to make money? Because if you don't have any sort of profitability plan, then you can't work that plan, right? You can't market something and make it profitable if it's not designed to be profitable. So that's one thing I would say. Are you building an app that is designed to make money? And then secondarily, are you thinking in terms of a business? And I think this is where a lot of developers, myself included, I'm really not a great entrepreneur, you know, and so I just don't think I don't have all of the knowledge and experience to do that. But I mean, you're telling me now it's for church, it's going to be free. Okay, so it's not designed to be marketable. As far as getting users to use it, part of it is adoption. So having the church adopt it as something that they're willing to accept orders through. So if they're not willing to do that, then you're kind of out of luck from the beginning. So in that instance, it would be adoption through the merchant, quote unquote. So getting adoption through a merchant is helpful because then the merchant tells people about the app so that they can use it, right? If the church is not willing to do that, then it really doesn't work no matter what. You have to have some sort of merchant on the back end. But if they are willing to do that, then it's just a matter of them saying, hey, use the app to order. And if they don't, you know, it's partially getting them to not take as many orders face to face and really pushing people to do it. Maybe there's some way of time savings. You can order ahead of time, order before you get to the church, you know, something like that. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think in order to get people to use it in that instance, you're going to have some sort of signage. You're going to have some sort of engagement from from the church, from the coffee area in the church or coffee shop, however that's set up within the church, in order for there to be buy-in. Because at the end of the day, it can be very, very useful, but if nobody on that merchant end of it is actually using it, then it doesn't really help anybody. It doesn't really get you any feedback either. So as far as getting more users to use it, again, I think that comes down to, like, what is the church doing to promote the app? One, are they prioritizing orders through the app? You know, there's many ways that you can tell people, hey, the app is the better way, or it's the only way. Like if they just said, hey, here's the QR code. We don't take orders because we're too busy filling orders. Fill out, download this app so that um, you can order your coffee, right? And then you can order it ahead of time. List the benefits, things like that. But that's part of the problem, right? So if the coffee area or shop or whatever, however it's set up at your church, if that's not engaging with you, if they're not supporting you in that effort, it is going to be hard to get them to get people to use it when they can just walk up and tell somebody what they want, right? So you're kind of, even if they are using your coffee order app, it's unless it's part of their process, then it's going to be really hard to get users on it. Um, I mean, I don't know how difficult it would be based on your current setup, but you might consider offering it to other churches that have a coffee, that more of a barista style coffee shop in their church, where we have coffee, but it's not. We don't take orders. You have to go get your own. You have to go make your own with the syrups and things. So we're not that fancy, but there are a lot of other churches that have similar setups, and they may or may not have some sort of ordering system. And so another thing that you could do is set up a multi-tenancy on there, or just multiple accounts, and just go around, offer it to other churches that especially if you can see on their website that they actually have like some sort of real coffee barista type area in their church. That would be another way to engage a broader use case than just the ones at your church. So, um, again, that's pretty manual. Maybe you can do some of that through. Um, they're only serving it through 11 to 11:30. That's interesting. Seems like a weird time too. At least for us, that would be right in the middle of the service. Yeah, and I think, well, and that makes, there's another pieces to that puzzle too from the app development side is what are the times of that you can order, things like that, right? I think in that case, I would probably look around and just see, again, if you're offering it for free, especially for a church, they're probably much more likely to try it out since it's a free thing. You're not charging them anything for it. So that's probably what I would do. I would try to contact some other churches that or just do some reconnaissance. Maybe that's just emails out. Lots of contact form filling out on different church websites, and just see who has a barista style coffee area, right, where the people submit orders or requests, and people are fulfilling those, and just see if they would be interested in using your app to help facilitate some of that order taking as well too. So that's probably what I would do if I were in your shoes and wanting to try to get some more user feedback and things like that, and just get a broader user base. I think you got to go to where the people are going to be told to use it, right? And that's going to be those coffee shops areas. So I think that's the best way to handle it. That is weird that it's only 30 minutes. Of course, I don't know when your services are, but that feels like a weird time too. But whatever. So I don't know. I think that to me that makes the most sense. It's probably what I would do. Um, I'm working on another side business idea. There's always a side business, right? Uh, and and for that, I'm talking to a friend of mine who who is more of a sales guy, right? And I'm trying to get him involved just on the sales side of things, because I'm not a salesperson. I have this business that I want to start, just part time. It's not going to be anything big, but I don't have the time or the willingness or the network or whatever it is, or the charisma. I just don't have those things to be able to sell, like starting from the beginning. Part of my job at my company is to come in and assist with the sales process, to answer questions, to offer some technical analysis of things and stuff like that, right? So I'm not outside of the sales process completely, but sales is not my thing for sure. And so it's kind of hard for me to answer that question, but what you're really looking for is user acceptance testing more than anything. So they're trying to encourage people to come in on time, hence why the coffee is an attraction. That's awesome. Well, yeah, maybe you don't want them ordering in advance, then maybe just ordering when they get there. Because if they order in advance and they show up right before the service to get it, I don't know. But then, you don't want to order too far in advance, because then it might be cold by the time you get it. So, excuse me. But yeah, I think you got to work with groups that are willing to make that kind of their exclusive process, to where they have people go through that, and maybe there's a process to get to that process. But yeah, at the end of the day, for that specific thing, you're gonna have buy-in from the merchant, whatever you want to call them. I think that's the most industry normal term for something like that. So, yeah, there you go. All right, I'm gonna cut it short a little bit here, guys. I got some stuff that I need to take care of, and it sounds like my wife wants to ping me about something too, and I think we've got to shuffle people around in cars here in the coming minutes as well. So thanks for jumping on, Dan and Ming. I will see you all probably Thursday. I've got a client coming to the office tomorrow, and we're probably gonna go late on Wednesday. So I'm not planning on jumping on here. I may, if I happen to be back in time, I may jump on, but I'm not planning on it. So you shouldn't plan on it. That's how that should work. So anyway, thanks for jumping on, guys. Thanks for the conversation. And hopefully we'll figure that out for you, Ming, in the in the days to come. So I'll see you guys on Thursday.